Hello, and once again, we are live with the Modern Mystery School UK and EU podcast and YouTube channel. And you might notice that I am sitting in the dark. Yes, my light will not work, but it's okay because Alex reminded me we're just about to experience an eclipse. So I've set the mood, I've set the tone. Al, tell us what does an eclipse actually mean? What's going to happen? Is it the end of the world, or is everything going to be okay?
Everything's going to be okay. It's interesting because sometimes I go and I take a look at the internet and I like to read what people are writing about the eclipse, and it's always like the latest doomsday article and this and that. And it's like, we have been going through thousands of years of eclipses, and the planet hasn't blown up that I've seen anyways. I still happen to be here, and unless this is a complete illusion and I'm totally wrong about it, I think eclipses are generally pretty safe.
Good. Well, that's good to know. But does it affect our life? Are there certain things that we are supposed to do or not do, or should we just carry on as normal?
So that's actually a really great question. And the truth is, eclipses, how I could describe them is it's like it opens the doors to the subconscious and it reaches in to try and find some skeletons for you to look at and examine.
Everybody's favorite thing to do.
And there are two different kinds of eclipses. So we have solar eclipses, which is the one coming up on October 14th. And then we have lunar eclipses. And so we're going to have a lunar eclipse at the end of the month, and we're going to meet later and talk about that as well. So solar eclipses tend to manifest in your external life, whereas lunar eclipses manifest in your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and that kind of thing. And so we have what's called an annular solar eclipse coming up. And so not annual as in yearly, but annular. And annular is a really cool term that refers to the fact that this is going to be a total solar eclipse, and some parts of the world are going to get to see like a ring of fire.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun to see.
And I'm sorry, Davina Kate, the UK seems to have been left out of this one. And for once, because usually solar eclipses have this incredible knack for manifesting over Africa and Europe and that kind of thing. But this time it's actually going to be over North America and South America. And so if you're in the southern US, California, Arizona, Texas, even Florida, if you're in Brazil, you're going to get a chance to see that ring of fire, or like the vast majority of the eclipse itself.
That's going to be spectacular. So if this is happening, and so how can we make use of it then? So what are the things that we could be doing to make use of it?
So every time we have an eclipse, it establishes a theme for us to work with until the next eclipse of that type, right? So for example, we're having a solar eclipse, and 5 months and 3 weeks down the line, we're going to have another solar eclipse. So for the next 5 months and 3 weeks, we have this theme of balance that's coming up, because this annular solar eclipse is in the zodiac sign Libra. And Libra is the sign of balance. It is that symbology of the scales, right? And so when we consider that we're going to be looking at this theme of balance in our external world, for the next 6 months, people are going to be feeling the pressure of trying to manage everything in their lives. So I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to start to feel like professional jugglers for the next little while.
My goodness. So that's so interesting. So when that's brought to your attention, well, as initiates, and that's brought to our attention, what are the types of things that we might do to smooth that over, if you like?
Yeah. We think of the concept of balance as something kind of passive, things that balance themselves out, right? But this is a time to be proactive in balancing things, because as human beings, energetically, we have this magical ability to kind of walk off balance and to like carry things. And so this is a time of assessment and to really weigh things out for yourself. And when I say balance, yes, of course, this is going to manifest in your external world. So how many people are juggling their careers? Plus, they have other goals and they have families and they have friends and they have things that they want to do and a limited amount of time, right? And they're constantly trying to juggle that. And that's one piece of the puzzle. But then it's also about that balance in your internal and external world, right? And this is something, especially if you are more introverted in nature, this is something that you may perhaps kind of feel a little bit of a tug, over basically the next 6 months. Because, when we need that time for introversion, but our life is becoming very demanding, it's all the more important to establish that balance. And even for extroverts, you still need your time too.
And that's really interesting because, as you know, I can relate to that, and having our rituals, I think, is that time each and every day, that sacred time where I can, okay, this is for me, this is my space, my boundaries, my, my sacred time, and that has been invaluable because my life is very busy. So I guess when we're experiencing this eclipse, that will be heightened even more so that we have these tools.
Yeah, and this is going to be a subtle theme in the background, but there's a quote that's coming to mind, and I always laugh at this. You should meditate every day for 20 minutes, unless you're really busy, and then you should meditate for an hour.
I love that one. I think I said that the other day to somebody and they were horrified when I said it. It's
It,
true.
it is true, right? And the thing is, if we are not internally in balance, then it is hard to manifest the external balance. Right. And so this is why it is important to pay attention to your inner world. And so Davina Kate, like you mentioned, you're like doing rituals and that kind of thing. Right. But I mean, there's many other ways to establish balance as well. One of the healings that I definitely want to recommend over the next 6 months, especially if you're feeling that pull on time, I guess would be a good word for it, is actually what's called the advanced Isis healing. And so there's the Isis healing, but then there's the advanced Isis healing. And time management is actually one of the great benefits and blessings of that advanced Isis healing.
Aren't we lucky to have all these things that we can just, draw upon to aid us through these, these shifts and these changes and these, and to learn about ourselves all at the same time. My goodness, I love that session. Yes. Please,
And
everybody.
if you don't have that accessible, if you happen to know somebody who's attended sacred geometry too and is a crystal healing practitioner, there's even the time enhancement healing with the crystals that you can do and receive as well. And so there's options here, right? So people are definitely going to be feeling a little bit of that time crunch, but it comes from that place of needing to establish balance.
Wonderful. And we all know that when we have balance internally, externally, everything is much more pleasurable in life. So what a great focus to have.
It leads to greater fulfillment, right? And Libra is the sign of not just balance, but also relationships. And so when we have that balance in our relationships as well, that's when we feel the fulfillment, right? When we feel that flow back and forth, when you feel the flow between your internal and your external world, when you feel the flow and exchange in your relationships, that's when you really feel fulfilled. And that's when you feel abundant as well.
So amazing. And I'm guessing that and maybe you can give us a little insight here. For those of people that are your clients that have their charts, are they affected by the eclipses in certain ways, or and they have certain things that they can do? So having that extra information is it's really
Yeah.
beneficial.
So the thing is, eclipses affect all of us because they affect the mass consciousness is really what it is, right? But for anybody whose birthday is on October 14th, perhaps you may feel this a little more intensely. Conversely, anybody who has a birthday on Valentine's Day, April 14th, not February 14th. Anybody who's born on April 14th as well, you're going to feel this too. But other than that, this affects everybody. Eclipses are rather impersonal in that way because we all connect to the sun and the moon. They are aspects of the psyche. And so whenever we have that temporary light going out, like I said, it's like reaching into the closet and pulling out those skeletons that we kind of need to dust off and sort and organize and, put away and deal with so that we're not putting them back into the closet to be scary and ugly.
Well, and I think that's a very valuable point to know that everybody's going through this, because I know sometimes we think, oh my God, I'm the only one that's being affected by this, shift or this, but actually if we have that understanding, we can be a lot more compassionate towards each other and say, well, okay, let's we're all going through this together.
What do they call it? Terminal uniqueness, right? We all seem to think that our problems are unique, and that's actually not the case. And you're right, it does help us foster empathy for each other. And the other thing I was going to recommend before I forget is for all of us, especially if you've attended Empower Thyself, go back into your Empower Thyself manual and take a look at the cycle of human processes. Because as you're feeling challenges with balance and if you're feeling a lack of satisfaction or that kind of thing, go and take a look at the quality of your thoughts. Go and take a look at what's manifesting in that inner world. And remember that the subconscious is a repository of unfelt and unprocessed emotions. And your negative ego gets to take that and use it as what's the word that I'm looking for here? He gets to use it to blackmail you. And so eclipses offer a chance to clean out the subconscious in specific ways so that there's less for your negative ego to use to blackmail you into behaving in ways that really don't serve you.
So basically, this is all a win-win for us to have, the knowledge of this, to be focused, and so that we can really get an opportunity to work on ourselves a little bit more. And we should see this as a big opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the beauty about astrology. If we're proactive with it, instead of just sitting there going, oh my God, woe is me, and life is wrong, and this and that, if we can actually be proactive with it, it is a win.
I love that. I love that.
You come out healed. You come out more resilient. You come out with better results in your life. You come out more fulfilled with more joy. I mean, I could keep going.
Yeah, well, I'm sold. I'm in. I'm actually might be a little bit of a fan of the eclipse then. Maybe.
Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to have a lunar eclipse.
Well, yeah, and we're going to be talking about that in our next podcast. So that's really exciting. Now, is there anything else that we need to know before we say goodbye, Al?
Yeah, you know what? Be kind with yourself. Yes. And think of yourself like a military general organizing your life to support you. If you can hold that kind of energy for yourself and be strategic, you will balance things out perfectly. We're going to call in that opposite energy of Libra, Aries.
I love it. I love it. And if you want to know more, please contact Al directly. She has, a wealth of knowledge, and, having a reading with her is amazing. And then she will recommend different sessions and all sorts of different things to a practitioner that's local to you if you're not close by. So, please reach out, because these are valuable insights that we all need to navigate through our daily life. We've got so much healings and so many sessions and classes at our fingertips, and isn't it wonderful to know when to use them to be the most efficient? So, for me, it just makes total sense. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom once again.
It was my pleasure. Happy eclipsing, everybody.
That's it. We're going to have bumper stickers now for we started a craze. We've started a thing.
Happy eclipsing.
Lovely. Take care, everyone. Take care for now. Bye-bye.